And yeah, I think we're ready to start. So take it away.
Thank you, Jacques, and thanks everyone for joining. Just a quick thing before we start. We're three French guys, as you can hear, and we'll try our best to explain things, but we may fail to do so. So I would just say before starting, please excuse our French. So we are the Bookshelf team, and we are really excited to talk to you about libraries. But first, I want to introduce a bit the team. We are founders and members of the Guinevere community, and the three of us have been making content in Minecraft for, I think, over a decade now. So first up, we've got Theo on my right, who is a software engineer who works in model-driven engineering and language engineering. He's kind of the guys who always talk about things you don't really understand, but he also brings some serious questions and interesting questions to the project, and very often that's help us a lot clarify what we're doing with the project. Next is Vincent.
Hey guys.
Here. And he's actually the one who started this whole project. And as you can see on the slide, he's an astrophysicist. And he's the stereotype of the physicist, as you can see, he's bald, and he often
and I love whiteboards.
Often explains things using a whiteboard, and but honestly, his knowledge of physics can sometimes really help us. And as you can see, then there's me, and I'm just a musician actually, but that has nothing to do with why I'm here. I've been developing things in my free time for a really long time, and I'm currently the main contributor of Bookshelf. I can also
just before Aksiome, can you move a bit because you are yeah, you block the screen.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna step back a bit. Maybe is it better?
This is a question from Ido.
Okay, and also I can say that I've been releasing a whole bunch of minigames on Java Realms for the past 8 years. You might know some of them if you were here 7 years ago, like Late, a pretty old horror map, which got a few articles on Minecraft.net. And I guess that's it for the team.
Okay, so Bookshelf. If I have to introduce what is Bookshelf in one sentence, I would say that it's a library Datapack that can enlarge the field of possibility and simplify the creation process, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that some people among you probably don't know what a library is. Actually, according to a survey we did in our community, half of Datapackers are not developers. They are learning development using Datapacks with the Datapacks. So they are not familiar with the concepts, such as the library. And I will try first to explain you what is a library. So I will probably not learn a lot of things to people that are already familiar with this, but basically a library is a set of tools, a set of functions that is made without independently to the let's say the end product that you will give to the user. And the idea is to avoid reinventing the wheel. So, for instance, if you want to use to make a dice, a six-sided dice, you want to use a function that will give you this random number. And this function you will not want to enter into mathematical consideration to how can we generate a random number from nothing. So yeah, you will just want to use a function and it works and you are happy with that. So that's the role of a library. A library will provide you this kind of functions. So there will be a lot of functions and variations, like here with the seed. You're not obliged to use it, but you can. It makes it more flexible. So yeah, that's the principle of libraries. And the thing is that libraries are used everywhere in development. You probably know some of them, or all of them probably. So there is TensorFlow, the orange logo, which is very used in the AI world. There is NumPy that's allowed to manage vectors and matrices, etc. I love vectors. I'm a physicist, remember. And for Minecraft stuff, there is also Fabric and Forge, etc. According to the Enterprise Strategy Group, there is 96% of the organizations that use libraries. It's yeah, it's very often it's very basic and very common. As Isaac Newton said, I have seen further than others because I have stood on the shoulders of giants, and it is true in science. It is true in computer science. If the libraries are so common, so basic, so important, we can ask a question. The question is why it is not often used in Minecraft creations. And we discussed a lot with the French community to understand why they are not used, and we identify some issues over the years, the months and the years we discussed about it. So all these issues we noticed are here, and there is a lot of issues that we cannot do anything about. Yeah, such as the simple data packs that contain few commands. It's not necessary to, it's not useful to use libraries if there is no randomness thing to that can be made by libraries. There is the challenge. Some people just want to recreate the wheel. Actually, it can be fun for some crazy people, and we totally respect that because we are some of these crazy people. And there is obviously the ego, because a lot of people, think that their code is better than the someone else. Yeah, we can't do a lot of things for these issues, but there is some issues that we can address, such as the fact that a lot of people doesn't know what a library is, and that's why I'm here actually. But this is most for communication aspect. So everyone can do this. Everyone that knows what a library is can, learn what a library is to the others. So it's not especially a bookshelf problem, but there is also technically stuff that we can act on, such as the compatibility and the coevolution. So I will just explain quickly. The compatibility is the ability of having several data packs at the same time working together in the same version of Minecraft. And the coevolution is the ability to maintain this compatibility over the versions, because Minecraft is a game that evolves very quickly. And we have to maintain all these data packs working together. And the thing is that data packs doesn't have the version management system or stuff like this, so it's only rely on data packers' ingenuity, conventions such as the Smith & one, and probably some tools that can be helpful. In addition to this compatibility and coevolution, there is also for the new people, so the new users, there is the documentation and the ease to use, which is sometimes an issue because these tools are very technical, very hard to take in hand, and the people that design these tools are most often very busy, and they spend a lot of time to design these tools, so they don't want, or they don't have time to create a proper documentation or proper interface. So an interface basically is just the way that you will use the tool. So yeah, the thing is that the documentation is often a problem, an issue for using such tools. There is also the performance issue, especially in Minecraft. The MC functions are not very optimized, and it's often an issue for a lot of people. They are very looking at the performances. Also, the weight of the data pack in developments, the libraries are just a bunch of files that are mostly unused because you will use only one function or two. So it's not a problem in classical development, but in Minecraft, it's sometimes people say that okay, I don't want to have a useless file in my project. And finally, there is the bugs. They are unavoidable, and they're everywhere. Not everywhere, but especially in Minecraft. So as we have no very proper debugging system, etc. So there is a lot of bugs, and people often don't trust the code of other people because they don't master it, and if there is a bug in other people's code, they are a bit blocked. So yeah. They prefer to do things themselves. That's all the issues we try to address using Bookshelf. So we designed a library that's try to answer all of this. It's actually a very long-standing project because everything started in 2016. I'm old. With so in Minecraft 1.9 there was no no data packs at this time. There was only the colored data blocks, and So I started with the LGDR, so it stands for Leirof and GamerGuppy direction. GamerGuppy was a command blocker, not Datapacker, and also a YouTuber that shared one of his projects that was basically relying on a vector-based movement management system. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's sick, and I want to implement it in all my maps. So that's basically what I did. I dig into his code, and it was very tricky to use, very tricky to adapt. So I decided to make a more flexible version in order to be able to implement it in a lot of maps. And I made the LGDR. I used it, for example, in Witchery map, which is basically a Quidditch for the people that knows Harry Potter. So it's a Quidditch, but without the brooms and with spells. So it's a bit different, but yeah. So there is a ball that is bouncing everywhere, and this requires vector-based movement management system. And I also used it in Witcher hierarchy map, which is basically a MOBA such as League of Legends. And you all know League of Legends. There is a lot of spells with a lot of different behaviors. Some spells bounce on the walls, some others pass through. There is different speeds, different. There are some spells that are affected by gravity, some others are not, by wind or not, etc. So at the same way, it requires very fine movement management system. After that, we talked about something we called the universe development kits. So the idea was to provide some tools such as the LGDR. So it took the form of a one commands at this time. There was no Datapack in 1.11. So the one command was basically just one big command that spawned an entire system, and it was the first way to properly implement other system in our maps and easily. But the thing is that it was mostly monolithic systems such as the LGDR, so it's a block, and it was not really useful because most of the time you need something which is more, let's say, specialized for what you need. And in 1.12, there was the introduction of data packs, and that's when we decided to split up all the functions, create mathematical functions, sinus, cosinus, etc. Yeah, we created the universe lib, so it was more or less the first lib as we released the first version at the beginning of Datapacks. Yeah, it was pretty rudimentary, but it allowed to do some maps such as blazing scaffolding, which is basically a rush. I will not explain what is a rush, but it's rush with over the lava and with scaffoldings. So you have to build bridge, and it's obviously easy to destroy. And yeah, there is volcanoes that throw some lava puffs on the bridge, and the lava puffs are actually targeting the bridge, so it's predetermined ballistic trajectory, which requires a lot of mathematics, and it was relying on the Universe lib. After that, we released a lot of versions of the Universe lib, and we had a lot of feedbacks from the community over on the performances, on the structure, etc., etc. And at some points, we had something that we were very, pleased with, we were happy with. And we decided to make it more consistent, make it more coherent, and we decided to rebrand it and call it Bookshelf. And here we are.
Okay, just take the mic. So Bookshelf. Just before, Leirof presented you the whole history of the Bookshelf project, and what is really important to understand from this history is that. Sorry, I will just go. Okay. So what is important is during these 8 years of development, we made a lot of experiment. We made a lot of errors too. We discussed a lot with part of the community about map making and data pack making, and you can and most important part, we forge our idea of what is a library in Minecraft. And you can see Bookshelf as a kind of conclusion of all the thinking we have about during these 8 years. And voilà. But yeah, I don't think Bookshelf is the ultimate solution. because this is a really strong claim, and I'm not saying that. But I think there's a lot of interesting thing to find in Bookshelf, to work with Bookshelf, and I will present you some of them. So about the Bookshelf philosophy. The Bookshelf is a modular library. So basically, we have a lot of different modules you can use, and you can only take one module without having to take each other, because they are independent each other. Then Bookshelf is open. So by that I mean open source. You can go in our repository and browse the code of Bookshelf, and you can even check how some of our features are implemented. Bookshelf is open to external contribution. So by that I mean you can go to the repository too and report issues, for instance. You can also propose some features. And finally, if you are a developer, you can also contribute new features. And for that, we are using a classical pull request development process. So we can have, for instance, in software engineering field. Finally, Bookshelf has an open license. We use the MPL v2 license, Mozilla Publication license. And with that, you can use Bookshelf for almost everything you want. You can take only some part of Bookshelf. You can use Bookshelf for commercial project if you want. The only requirement is to credit the different author of what you take from Bookshelf. And I think this is a pretty right thing to do. Finally, and maybe the most important part is we really try with Bookshelf to have a library that is as most user-friendly as possible. And for that, we try to provide clear and simple function interfaces for the different features we propose. And also, we put a lot of effort to document, to illustrate, and to give example of each feature we provide inside Bookshelf. So here we don't have a screenshot of the documentation, but at the end of the presentation, you will have a QR code to go to see our documentation. And I think this is one of the best documentation you can find for a Minecraft library. So we think this is really an important thing.
Okay, so let me take the mic back. Let's get into the interesting stuff, and let's talk features now. We organize all these features into namespace modules, as you can see, and there are quite a few of them. We're not gonna cover everything, that would take really too much time, but we'll walk you through some of the highlights here. First up, we've got the block module. This one is actually quite big. It basically lets you retrieve all the info on a block, its type, states, and NBTs. Once we have that, we can start having some fun. For instance, we can cycle through block states, merge them, or even swap block types while keeping the original states intact. And when we're done, we can use this modified data to set blocks or even fill regions. And this while being able to use masks, a bit like in WorldEdit, for example. So if you take a look at the image on the right, by using the function fill type and applying a mask to stairs, we're able to swap all stairs to a different variant while keeping their original states, and this in a single command. Next up, we have two modules, the generate and random modules. These haven't been released yet, actually, but they're all part of an upcoming update that's gonna come really soon. These modules allow us to manipulate different type of noise to create shapes or generate terrain. If you check the images on the right, you'll see three types of noise we work with. There is white noise, which is basically just random data. Then simplex noise, which is a variant of the well-known Perlin noise. And then fractal noise, which I think is also sometimes called a pink noise, which basically combines multiple layers of noise to create something a bit more interesting. And this is actually also how Minecraft generation works. So by combining multiple noise. And so the generate module is actually here to exploit the random module, which generates noise, and to render this into Minecraft workspace by generating shapes. Okay, Next, we have the else and XP module. These are pretty straightforward and simple. They just let you manipulate the player health bar and experience bar. And I will just say that the cool part about this is that you can adjust the progress percentage of the XP bar, and it just works with any player level. Okay. Then we have the move module. So it's kind of the continuation, or I would say the evolution of the LGDIR. So this one is all about moving entities around using scores, as you can see. This while handling all kinds of collision along the way. The main big advantage here is that it uses a continuous algorithm, not a discrete one. I won't go into technical details, but that means that even at high speeds, entities won't ghost through tiny blocks. So it should be quite reliable for precise movement, and it's actually even getting better in the upcoming release. And last module that I'm going to present today is the recast module, which actually is one of my favorite. It's really useful. And like for the move module, which I haven't mentioned, but it handles all the blocks, hitboxes, even the ones with random offsets like flowers. It's really, really precise because it's using a voxel traversal algorithm. And honestly, with the view module, you'll see that after this, which relies on it. It has one of the cleanest interface in the entire lib. And I know I'm kind of biased, but I'd probably say it's one of the cleanest I've seen so far. Recast setup I've seen so far. It's also getting an update in the next release with better handling of the callbacks, and also a nice new feature which is called piercing, which allow you to go through multiple blocks, layer of blocks and entities, and react at each step before stopping. So that's it for the modules. Now I'm gonna just show you a few practical examples. So if you haven't seen our booth, we have a beach volleyball that you can throw, and this actually is the exact code it's using. So just go see the booth if you haven't. So what is happening here? We first set the local z velocity to 500, then the x and y coordinates are to 0, and we convert these local coordinates to canonical one. For those who don't know, local coordinates are the one you're using when you type in the caret character in Minecraft. So local to the player, actually. And basically what this function does, so it's to move the entity alpha block in the way it's looking at. And as you can see, you can, yeah, thanks Theo for the, it's the last.
It's on the last one, but yeah.
It's on the last one actually, but yeah. As you can see, you can hook up any kind of collision function, reaction function. Here we use the bounce one, but you can just create your own one if you want. That's very customizable. And you actually get a lot more parameters. I haven't included those on the slide, but you can control which entities or blocks are ignored, and a lot more other options. That's it for this example. And I have a last example, which is the bucket that we have also in our booth. So if you haven't seen it, basically it allows you to get the properties of a block using an empty bucket and apply these properties to another block. So quick example, for example, if you take a spruce log and apply this to an oak stairs, what you'll get is a spruce stairs. The interesting part here is the first line, which actually uses the raycast, which actually use the view module, which use internally the raycast, but it basically lets you execute at the block you are looking at. And as you can see, it's really, the syntax is really, really simple. Then it runs, as you can see, the replace block function, which is then executed at the block you're looking at. Perform a map type operation, which is something a bit more complex, and then just replace the block by a new one. So I'm just quickly gonna try to explain the map operation. Basically, through a mapping registry, we are able to define block attributes and relationships. A quick example I could think of is using not the map function but the mix type function, which is almost the same. But if you have, for example, a mossy cobblestone block and you mix in a brick block, what you'll get is a mossy stone brick block. So that's the main idea of these two functions, so map type and mix type. And that's it for the example.
Okay, so now let's step back a bit from the Bookshelf implementation and see how with Bookshelf we are trying to address the different issues we identified and we show you at the beginning of the presentation. I will just take my mic here. Okay, so I will start with the coevolution bugs and compatibility part. So more especially with the coevolution and bugs part. First, we have some unit testing in our library. So basically, the idea is to do some MC function only to test the different features we provide with Bookshelf. And for that, we are using packtest. Packtest is a library and also a Minecraft mode for especially for to test a different Minecraft function. And thanks to that, we can directly execute our test inside a CI/CD pipeline. So basically, when you are contributing a new feature on the GitHub repository, all the tests will be executed over the new version of the library. And can say if we have some regression, so if with a new contribution we break something in the code, or even if Minecraft, with the new Minecraft version, something is broke inside the library too. So we can really and quickly detect this kind of issue. So this is for the coevolution part. Thanks to that, we can release more easily new version of Bookshelf. We also have the automatic generation of some assets we need for Bookshelf. So for instance, with the block module, we need the list of all the blocks available in Minecraft. This is the same thing for the hitboxes, where we need the list of all hitboxes we have in Minecraft. And for that, we directly extract this information from Minecraft itself, and we use for the blocks method repositories. And for the hitboxes, we use a custom plugin, a fabric mod, we made to extract this information from the source code of Minecraft. So thanks to that, we can really accelerate the development cycle. Finally, for this convention and coevolution part, convention compatibility and coevolution part, we are also Smith convention compliant. The idea behind is to be compatible with as much Datapack as possible. For the documentation part, as we already talked about earlier, we put many efforts to have complete and clear interfaces, but also documentation, and that will help for the what library part, where with this documentation we can really help new users to handle, to learn to use Bookshelf. For the heavy part, so we have our modular architecture, and from that you can just select a module we want without having to take the whole data pack. And finally, for the performance part, we use Datamancer. Datamancer is a mode enabling benchmark in Minecraft. So with that, we can evaluate the performance of our features and try to improve them if we are considering them as too slow, for instance. And for the communication, as Leirof said earlier, but this is why we are here. We are here to explain the importance of libraries and to explain what we learned with Bookshelf and what is Bookshelf. So we are almost at the end of the presentation. I will talk you a bit about feature we want to do in Bookshelf. Basically, we have three main directions. The first one is about the data pack itself with new module and features. And we already present you the generation part. This part is coming in the next version of Bookshelf, but we already have a lot of ideas to improve this generation module, and I will let Aksiome present you them.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the current generation module, actually the current random module, only handle 2D noise, so 2D simplex noise. And while that's enough to create basic shapes like terrain height map, it cannot create caves and curves through things, so you cannot get like over cliffs and overhangs. And this stuff could be implemented with 3D noise. So we're just gonna iterate on the 2D version to create a 3D one. Yeah, that's so that's why we're that's gonna come in the next update. We're gonna work on a 3D noise algorithm and add this to the generate and the random modules.
Okay, so next module we have in our head is the interpolation module. So basically the goal of the interpolation module is to give to some features different values we have and to compute the intermediate state between all these features according to some algorithm we want to propose. And basically another idea is to do some spline with this module. So this module will be really useful for projects we have in mind with Bookshelf, and I will present you some of them a bit later. Then we have string and text management module. So the string management module basically is what you already have in programming languages, such as Java, etc. So features such as index of or split features to split a string according to a specific character, for instance. And the text management is more for Minecraft JSON text Minecraft JSON text. From that, we want to propose a way to do some animation in Tailrow or in title, for instance. Then we have one of the favorite module of Leirof, the physics module, and I will let Leirof talk about.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the first version of the lib, there was the mathematical functions, and there is also a vector module. You probably saw it on the module list. And did I mention that I love vectors? So yeah, and there is also the link module that's allowed to create entity structures, etc. So basically, we have most of the basic bricks in order to build advanced physics. So you probably saw the video of Sedbling showing a cube that is bouncing everywhere and rolling on the terrain. This use quaternions. This use a lot of vector-based movements management systems, and this is kind of the things that we want to do in physics. We want to implement forces, masses, tensions, stuff like this. And in addition to make something that looks great, we want to make it very simple to use for everyone in order to implement it in Datapacks or in maps. Yeah. You're mute, Theo.
Sorry, I'm mute. So the last module I want to talk about is the graphical user management module we want to propose. And for that, we want to take advantage of the Minecraft interaction entity to provide more easily way to create a graphical user interface with well-known graphical components we can find in software engineering, such as buttons, such as a group of radio button, etc. So we really want to do this kind of thing through a graphical user interface module. Next one. So here, this was for the module and features we want to add in the Bookshelf Datapack. Now I will talk about how we want to expand Bookshelf to other things like than the Datapack itself. So as we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, Bookshelf is a Datapack, is a library for map making and not only for data pack making. And so what we want to do is to provide also a library part for builds and also a resource pack such as models and sound, because all of that is really an important thing for map making also. So for that, we are currently trying to work with build teams and also with resource pack makers to have this kind of feature inside the Bookshelf library, always with the idea to keep the architecture modular. So the idea is just to have some group of builds and some group of models, and to be able to just take the one we are interested by. Okay, the last idea with direction we have for Bookshelf is an ecosystem around Bookshelf with other systems that are not really part of the library, but more part of the global ecosystem. And we have here two main ideas. We have the Amundsen Animator system. So Amundsen Animator is basically in Minecraft a way to animate Amundsen with all the tools we can find in video editing software and animation software. So the timeline, the different key points, etc. Key images, etc. So I know there already exists a tool for that in a web client, I think, but we want to do that directly in Minecraft. And this kind of system will really use the interpolation module to compute all the intermediate images between two key points, for instance. And this is the same for the camera module. So the goal of the camera module is to provide ways to create cinematics and traveling and other things like that. And such system will also use the interpolation module to compute the different position between 2 points. Okay, so this is all for the presentation. I will conclude by synthesize what we talk about. So we present you Bookshelf. So Bookshelf is a library for map making, not for data pack making. And this library started 8 years ago. During these 8 years, we identify several issues in our community, and we try to address these issues through different points, such as the modular aspect, the open aspect, the resilient aspect with test, for instance, and more especially the user-friendly aspect. We have many perspectives to improve a Bookshelf, including builds and resource pack, but also a more global ecosystem. And finally, we have some questions for the audience, or so for you. First, as we talked about earlier, but the identified issues we found are more come more from the French community, but maybe we are a bit biased. So if you have other ideas of issues, problems, or things like that that can block the adoption of such libraries, don't hesitate to talk about. And finally, if you have some use cases for libraries, we're also really happy to listen to you. Thanks for your attention. Here you have 3 main links for the resources of Bookshelf. So the first one is for the modeling, where you can find the download link. We also have the documentation in the center where you can find all the relevant information to use the Bookshelf. And at the end, you have our YouTube playlist.
So yeah, I've put a bunch of links in the chat. I'm gonna also put them in the Discord chat, I think. In the YouTube playlist, you'll find the actually the 2 videos that shows the move module. This one is a bit old, but it's still nice to see. And one that shows the generation module, so with a nice generated terrain. And yeah, I'll put those also on the Discord.
We add them inside the Discord. Have you already put in the Discord?
No, I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
I will do that during your talk.
Yeah, and finally, we are searching for builders and resource pack makers because as Theo said, we try to enlarge the the lib, and yeah, we are not builders, we're data packers. So if you are a builder or the resource pack maker, or if you know some people that have the skills and that wants to contribute to such projects, don't hesitate to come to talk with us after this talk. And also, if you for data packers, yeah, we are also searching for data packers. It's we never refuse some help. Yeah, and of course, I want to mention that we put a lot of effort to respect the credits and display mention all the contributors everywhere we can. So yeah, thanks for listening, and
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right. With that, we can move forward to the Q&A section.
Yeah.
And feel free to put your questions in the stream chat, in the Discord stage, and in game chat.
Yeah, I saw some of them, so I think I'm gonna take which feature do you recommend to check out? depend of what you're looking, but I would say the move or the raycast one are the most interesting one to see, and blocks. Basically, the one I talked about are the most interesting one, and
The more useful too.
Yeah, and the more useful too. Yeah.
I
If you want to have the move module, BS dot move movement blocks. And if you want actually to look at the code, and just see some code, I would recommend looking at the raycast module because it's really interesting.
I just want to answer which features are hardest to make. Actually, it depends. It depends of the version of Minecraft because, as you can imagine, making a vector-based management, movement management system in 1.9, it was a pain in the ass. Now, I'm not really aware. Maybe Aksiome can say.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I think with the rework of Bookshelf, one of the most feature was the move one, because just collision are a pain. Like really, I understand all this. Game developer that just struggle with collision. You think you have figured it out. It looks simple at the start, but then you have a small bug and another small bug and something else. It's it's painful and long.
Yeah, so I see a question in the chat. How straightforward would code look to turn a block into its respective block display entity? So basically, we have a feature for that. So maybe Aksiome will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is only two commands. One to get the block and the other to transform it to the display block display.
Yeah, maybe three to like swap the return type to the input. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe a third one.
It's
yeah, exactly. You can also have block particles. You can have what is the name of this entity? Block
falling
block.
block.
Falling block entity.
Yeah,
Thanks.
falling block.
Falling block entity. You have a lot of different possibility, and we are thinking about sounds. So to get the sound of a specific block too.
Yeah, if you finished.
Yeah.
So there is a question, what is the best way to read through a library quickly and efficiently? A majority of libraries fall into the too long didn't read problem. So if I understand well your question, the thing is that we put a lot of effort on documentation. Our documentation is decomposed on by modules and by features, so you can very quickly access to the feature that interests you. And for the code part, if you're interested in how we made a feature, actually we will in next releases we will create some example features that's on which we put a lot of effort on the code design. So you will be able to read the code and understand how it works by reading the code. So yeah, we'll put a more effort on it. So yeah, basically we just try to make it as clear as possible. We put a lot of effort on it. And I just want to answer another question.
I just want to add on this question. If you,
sorry. Yeah.
I'm not sure. That depends if you meant like read the code because you want to read the code to see how it's made. Then yes, sure, it takes a bit of time, but that's the whole point of I think also using a library is not to care so much about that. And we try to also document our code and to have something that is quite easy to read and well written. So yes, if you want to have a look at it, feel free, and it should be a nice experience. But
yeah, it's
the point of a library is to not have to do that, and we try really hard on the documentation. If you go see the documentation, you'll see that we put a lot of effort on it.
Yeah, the thing is that classical features often use tricks, Minecraft tricks, in order to be optimized, and so it's often not really very simple to understand. So that's why we will have example system and the classical example features and the classical ones. The classical ones will use a lot of tricks. That is a bit weird, but that works. And there is another question. So since the libraries are a niche part of Datapacks, what is the best way to promote your library? Well, actually, by doing by putting a lot of effort on documentation. Actually, I don't have the answer, the perfect answer, but in my opinion, is doing a very clear documentation, very appealing one, and also by trying to do popularization on what a library is, and try to let's say reassure people that it's not very heavy or stuff like this. It's not because there is a lot of things that it will be heavy, and it can be useful. So just show examples like I did for the different maps we did with this library. I think it's the best way we can do, and there is also the cheating solution, like asking a YouTuber to promote the library, but we don't know YouTubers, so yeah.
So the
Maybe one day.
question, the next question is, what is the difference between Bookshelf and Universe? Basically, Universe is a community. Bookshelf is one of the projects of the community. Bookshelf was incubated in the Universe community, and now Bookshelf is a more independent project from the community, but it was a starting point, basically.
Okay. Do you want to maybe take the question on the framework, graphical framework, too?
How do you plan to implement the graphical framework seen on slide 37? It's a complicated question. Currently, the graphical user interface management is 2 modules. One to create, one centered around the interaction entity with the capability to add event listener to the interaction entity, such as right click, left click, hover, enter hover, leaf hover, for instance. And this module is used by another one named component module. This component module will use a different interaction and will provide more high-level features, such as add create button, create toggle button, or something like that. And the mechanism behind will be the different listener. But even from the component module, you can use add your custom listener to the different interaction if you want. So this is really 2 modules with one that is an higher level than the other. I don't know if this answers the question.
Yeah, just to clarify this, the current implementation we're thinking is more about using interaction entities and not using like containers. But we plan on doing many things with containers, but right now it's all about interaction entities.
We also have ideas about containers, but
that's another part. Yeah.
That's another part. Yeah, graphical user interface is really a big aspect, and currently we are trying to manage one of these aspects.
There is a question. Are you taking amateur libraries to criticize? For sure, if we have time. So you can always send us your library, and we will try to check it, and try to answer you as soon as we can. But it's not our main job, but we can do that. Yeah. We are really pleased to help other people that are making libraries and tools to make datapacking more easy, and it's pretty cool.
I guess
so we want to support
join the Guniver community, and there are a lot of people that can just help and review things if you want. That's the whole point of having communities like this. And I think you can do the same with Mist. Yeah. I saw a question in the chat just. Does your Datapack detect what block there is on a coordinate? If so, does the implementation differ from Titan? Actually, it's almost the same implementation. The main difference is that we return a lot more data. So we return the block states also in a stringified format. That way we can use these blocks with macro and such. Which is not the case with Triton SPAC, but it's actually the exact same idea behind. Yeah. And we also mentioned Triton because we use district, so it's only fair.
There is a question like, do you plan on making library for more than map making? For now, no. We plan to do an ecosystem, but we are still focused on map making for now.
I mean, we should clarify what map making is, because a lot of people here make Spike also for survival worlds, and in this case, I think Bookshelf can be suited for those. But in a lot of cases, also when you're designing a pack for survival, you're really trying to optimize the thing a lot. We try to do that a lot in Bookshelf. Honestly, it's quite well optimized also for a lot of functions, like the recast, for example. But when you're working for survival pack, I think the requirements are a bit different. But prove me wrong. Maybe Bookshelf has its use here, and I'll be happy to see that.
I just want to insist on the fact that map making is a very large category, and it includes a lot of things such as datapack making, as we discussed previously in the chat. So yeah, for datapackers, actually, map making is a library for map making is also suitable for datapacking making. There is a question. What do you think is the most impressive projects which use Bookshelf? The answer is funny because it's a project that was never released. It's called Tria, and that was a project that was implementing most of the stuff that you saw, because it was implementing AI, not AI like neural network, but more like video games in Battlefield or Call of Duty or stuff like this. And there was projectiles, there was a lot of view vision, so recast system in every direction, etc. A lot of entity links, a lot of features everywhere. So yeah, but the thing is that it was not released. So a released map was probably Hierarchy. So the MOBA game, such as League of Legends, that use a lot Bookshelf. So it's in 1.16. If you want to check it out, it's a very, very big map.
And I'm really proud. It's a really old project. We don't have a recent project that use Bookshelf fully.
Yeah, now we are focused on developing Bookshelf itself, so we don't have time to develop maps.
Blazing scaffolding a bit.
Yeah, blazing scaffolding a bit. Yeah.
It isn't just a tiny bit of the library, but we are using a lot of the library for.
Actually, there is an interesting part of in blazing scaffolding, is that the overall underpearl mechanic was rebuilt using the library. So the underpearl that you will use in the basic scaffolding is not the behavior of the classic behavior. Why? Simply because when you throw an underpearl over a scaffolding, you will just be teleported next to the scaffolding, and we want to be teleported inside the scaffolding. So that's why we use the library to reproduce the movements, and we detect the collision point, and we scan the environment and put teleport the player on the good scaffolding. So we remade entirely this underpearl mechanic, and we compared the one that we made with the native one, and actually for on a 1,000 blocks distance, the precision was the two underpearls arrived on the same block. So yeah, and at the same time. So the same trajectory, exactly the same mechanic. Yeah.
For the question about the Discord servers, I sent the Universe Discord and the Bookshelf server Discord on the Discord chat if you want. Please notice that Universe is more a French community, even if we can talk English if you want, no problem with that. But Bookshelf is really an international community, so we are talking English every time in this Discord. There's a question about the graphical user interface module. Does the graphical user interface module focus on functionality over graphics? I'm not sure to understand the question. What do you mean by graphics?
I think I can try to answer.
If you want.
The idea is that it's not a single module. So we'll have the interaction one, which is just focused on the interaction part and the IPE. So basically on any kind of event, and just react to those events with a callback. So that's more like that focus more on the actual logic. And then we have other modules, like Theo mentioned, the components one, which will be used to create something a bit more simpler, and will focus more on the graphical stuff. So yeah, I guess a bit of both, if I understand the question correctly.
Yeah, there's a question about why do you choose Modrinth to distribute Bookshelf? Currently, we are available on different platforms. We are on Planet Minecraft. We are on Modrinth, and we are working on our custom website to
and GitHub
directly.
also.
Sorry.
There is also GitHub releases.
And GitHub and Smith's website too. And we are working on a custom website to be able to select directly the different modules you want to download without having to filter them on the zip you will download.
It's already uploaded to Smith. If you it is.
Yeah.
And just a small, I'll just add on that. But right now, I think it's better to download on GitHub, because you have access actually to each module individually. So if you want to compose your own pack with just a few modules, you can just download one module and add them together. Maybe it's a bit simple, the problem with Modrinth, but we'll see how we address that. We haven't talked much about that. But the problem with Modrinth is that we have to upload the whole modpack, Datapack, and that's not really the philosophy behind modularity.
There is a question about. I saw two questions. Do other libraries projects like Bookshelf exist? Yeah, there is a lot of library projects, even if these library projects are more domain specific. So for instance, only for raycasting or only for block management, for instance. We list some of them directly in our documentation website if you want to see that, because I think there is a lot of interesting projects other than Bookshelf, and we really want to promote them too. So for that, you can go on our website, documentation website, and you will see a project using Bookshelf, related work to Bookshelf, but also interesting guide and tool to start with map making and datapack making.
Yeah, it's on the related section of our website,
Exactly.
the documentation website. And if you want to submit something because you think it's interesting, feel free. We really like to add on to that, to have more resource to that, because I think it's a great thing to be able to access all these tools easily.
Exactly. There's a question about core shaders. So I think with Aksiome we already talked about that a bit, and we really think there is interesting thing to do with core shaders, but we currently don't. We are not an expert about that. So if you are an expert on this domain and you want to talk about, and you have some ideas of interesting systems we can implement with core shaders for a library such as Bookshelf, I think we'll be really happy to discuss that with you.
Yeah, and I just had JLSL is hard, and the problem also with core shaders is that it's hard to implement, but it's also hard to make compatible. So it's hard to have multiple things and distribute different systems at once. And also the API is changing really fast now. Mojang is breaking things all the time because they want to create something a bit more stable, and that's great. But I think it's best to wait a bit before these are a bit more stable. At least that's my take on it. Yeah.
Other question: what kind of resource pack asset help are you looking for? So basically, what we want to do is to provide different modules about specific purpose. For instance, modules about house furniture, for example, and we can also provide modules for custom entities or something like that. So we are really open to all type of contribution. but the only requirement is to accept to put the model itself under the MPLv2 license. And in exchange, we will credit you directly in the documentation and in the Datapack itself.
Yeah, the main idea of that is that we want to create an environment that is easy to use for map makers, but not only through Datapacks. So having small builds, small assets that you can use to create a map fast is something we would like to have in our library. And the same goes for models.
Okay, so thank you very much for your question. I think we are running out of time. If you have other questions, don't hesitate to contact us in private or directly in our Discord, and we will let the next speaker take the floor.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks guys.